All right, here we are for the finale, week 18. Vegas Hospitals Proxy Survivor, which took a bit of a ding last week. So I guess they're down to, is it about 1 million an entry if everyone survives this week? Scott, what do we have?
Yeah, this is the final week. This is the week we've been all striving for. I've got a couple of really big games to talk to you about. But before we get there, I got one of my buddies here, Bronco. He's one of the guys that's been using my proxy service all year. Bronco, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
Thrilled to be on the season finale. Hopefully, you guys keep the show going. I know when I talked to you at Bet Bash and you talked about doing this, I said I was going to be a loyal listener every week just to hear Adam's insights, one of the sharpest books out there. So it's been a great year.
yeah, it's been a great year. And I'm going to try and talk Adam into extending the show, even though this is the last week of the contest. I think I got a chance. We'll see what happens. You, Bronco, you got any big bets or anything going on this weekend? Anything grab your attention?
Uh, for NFL, no, this is kind of like a preseason week where you've got to know all the ins and outs and read the tea leaves of the coaches and what they're doing. So I made a couple of plays earlier in the week, but still just trying to be cautious with the games. Given the motivations and some of the that being factored in the prices. So navigating carefully.
That's
And
it.
you
I agree.
any chance of any money in the millions, or you've given up like 10 weeks ago, like I
Yeah,
have?
yeah. No, I've given up. I wouldn't even say I'm playing for pride. Um, didn't realize that this was the how big of a marathon. This is my first year doing the contest. So I got a survivor early, like most people, when the favorites were getting knocked out earlier in the season, and yeah, it was doing okay in the millions and then DraftKings earlier on, but yeah, it catches up with you. It's a slog.
It is,
Definitely.
yes.
On the Survivor, did you get knocked out on Cincinnati?
No, I did make it to
You
week
didn't.
two. Yeah,
Oh,
although my partner team, Sandbagger, he recommended Cincinnati week one, and that knocked out one of the entries. So, but it was
gotcha.
week two with Philly, who seemingly hasn't lost, I think, since then, or maybe they lost one game. So I love looking at their record with two losses, knowing that they knocked me out of Survivor in week two.
I gotcha. Well, Adam, let's go ahead and pull up. And Bronco, I'm going to ask you. Well, let's do this first. What did you think of using the VHP proxy service this year? Did you have any problems? Anything that anything you'd like to comment on?
No, no, no problems. I love using it. The reminders were great. I typically wait till pretty close to the deadline, so getting the email and especially the text message late at night because sometimes something will come up, I'll get distracted. So that was the most valuable thing. And I think the other part, I think one thing when you put the entries in, there's a lot. I like to double check, triple check before I hit that submit.
Right.
So maybe I could talk to you about like having some other um, feedback things on there to make sure I'm got the right picks for the right entry. But other than that, it's been great. Thanks for doing it, and glad I got to be a part of it and give some feedback on the process.
Well, there is a way to double check your entries because you get an email with the entries that you selected, and it comes almost immediately when you hit submit.
Okay, so if I screw up something, I can just hit you up and say, Scott, I made a mistake.
Yeah, you can do that. You need to do it as quickly as you can. I
Right,
mean,
right, right. Yeah,
but yeah. If you made a simple human error, and I had a couple of people make a human error this year, where they meant to hit the favorite and they hit the dog, and they sent me a message and said, "Oops," and I just fixed it for them. Really, what I have to do is tell the system that entry has been declared invalid. I blow it away, and then you just have to re-enter everything for that entry. So let's say you had 10 entries and you messed up on entry number 8. I would just blow away entry number 8 and you would re-enter that. Not a big deal. Like I said, it's happened to a couple of people this year. It's a human. It's just a human thing to make these small errors. So not a problem at all.
okay, good to know.
But Yeah, no problem. But like I said, that double checking, it does happen because you do get the email. You were getting the emails
Yeah.
for
I
you
get the
selected.
email. I never thought of using that as like the double check.
That was what I would use if I was you.
Okay, makes sense.
All right, Adam, I got some games here. We need some inside information. And the first game I want to talk to you about actually starts in about an hour. It's none other than the Bengals and Pittsburgh. And this was one of the top 3 games picked by millions customers this week. Do you have any inside information on this one, especially from your guys in Ohio? Because last I knew, they were still doing better than the New Jersey guys.
Yeah, I was really surprised with this one because I mean it was 2 on the Circa, and then it was 2.5, and it's been 2.5 pretty solid. So I was surprised that the top down players that you generally have sort of hit this one so hard. I mean, this is very well balanced game right now. What I did notice was that there was a chunk of money at Cincinnati -0.5, laying about 40 cents. But majority of it is very well balanced at the 2.5 both ways. So right now, even on the sharp money, it's balanced. So there's no real decision to be made on this one right now. But just looking at hopefully Cleveland can get a score here and put them back in with the chance to at least cover that one. So Pittsburgh Cincy balanced right now.
Okay, what's the score in that Cincinnati or in that Cleveland game? Because I've got a position on it.
It's 21-3, but Cleveland are inside the 30.
Okay, that's great news. Great news. Okay. Bronco, is there anything you wanted to say about this Cincinnati game?
No, I mean I've been watching this one. I think to me I've been kind of careful. I think the Steelers have I put them in some teaser legs, but kind of worried with what they might do in the second half of that game. So that's kind of where I'm at with that game.
Sounds good. All right, let's go to game number 2. That is I believe this was the number 2 picked game at VHP Proxy. It is the Saints versus the Buccaneers, and the people really like the Buccaneers this week. Adam, what do you see on the inside?
And this was another one again. I mean, 13.5, the numbers going to 14. It did pop up 14.5 a bit, so I can see the top down players jumping into that. I'm going to reluctantly, I looked at the chart. I was really trying to find a play. The Saints plus 14.5, which it looks like you can get it, or 14, is the one that we're going to tickle at this week. It's not the confidence levels that we've had previous weeks. I think there was one other week when we had Minnesota at home that I sort of said the same thing, and I believe that one got rolled. One of our, I think, only ones to get beat, or one of a few. It's, majority of the money on New Orleans is at 14 or 14.5. We did get a few sharp bets at the 14.5 and then at the 14 from 2 very respected people on that side. All the Tampa Bay money is at -13, 13.5. There's not really that much at -14. So that's going to be the play of the week. Very little low confidence, but wanted to, try and finish off with a winner, laying it out there. But they're definitely playing the numbers there, -13.5 or plus 14, 14.5. So I just hope it doesn't land 14 by the look of it right now.
Right. That's not a good middle for you at all. Bronco, what did you think about this play?
Yeah, when I saw this was on here, I had a feeling this was going to be the game, and it was going to be a hold your nose and take the Saints. So I've been hoping to stay away from this one, but when I saw it on there, I'm like, oh, this is the one that Adam's talking about. But maybe it'll go like that Saints Washington game where the Saints pulled it out at the end.
Very well, very well. The next game is the Kansas City game. This was not a highly picked one by VHP. Bronco, this was a game that you wanted to talk about. I'll let you ask Adam the question on this one.
Yeah, like I figured, I think there was early money on the Broncos. Probably when it was, I'm not sure what it opened at. If it was at 10, that probably got eaten up quickly. And was wondering as it clearly got bet up, if there's any respectable action coming back on the Chiefs, or it's still just kind of one way to the Broncos. So this was another one I thought would be a potential, hold your nose, take the underdog team here.
Yeah, that was my first look at it as well, and it actually opened 7. The first bets were placed at -7, and then -7 minus some money, so it was -7, -7, -16, -7, -23, 25, 29, 34, 35, and then it jumped to 9.5. Denver's probably the biggest bet team of the week by far at this point. Sharps are all over it as well. Let me just dig into a little bit more depth of this. Again, they got some of the 7, they got some of the 9, they got the 9.5, they got the 10 flat, and a fairly sizable bet at the 10.5. On the other side, there's not really that much. There's a little bit on Kansas City by the pros at 10.5 and a little bit at 10. But yeah, this is another one, that's playing it like most weeks. Kansas City's probably the one that we're definitely going to need significantly. The one thing that I wonder is, yes, they're resting their starters, but don't these backups have something to prove? Aren't they going to be trying to at least play for, a contract next season or other games out there? So these are the ones that there's no way I'd be laying Denver. If I'm going to play this game, I'm playing the Chiefs, or I'm just going to stay clear of it and see what happens, live in the run. But significant money by the wise guys, but again, at low numbers, 7, 9, 9.5, 10, 10.5 sort of thing. So this was definitely one that when I started going through it a few days ago, and when I was doing my Circa picks, it was like, what the hell? How are they 10.5? But yeah, it's week 18. This is what happens.
Yeah, it's almost like the preseason, just like Bronco said earlier.
Yep.
The next one we have on our list is Jacksonville. And I believe, Adam, this is the game you wanted to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, so this one was interesting. I think it was the 4th biggest picked one. Easily surprised that it wasn't the top one, considering I believe it was 5 on Circa and the game's at 3 now.
Correct.
This is where there is literally not a penny at the current number of 3. All the action happened at +5, +4.5, +4. That's the lowest number that they've taken on the Jags. And even on the Colts, some people took the -4.5, -4, I guess, on the way down, thinking that it was going to come back. But there is literally nothing at 3.5, nothing at 3. All the actions between 4 and 5. So I thought that one was an interesting one to take a look. And again, based on knowing what your proxy guys have been doing all season, and I'm sure there's many like myself that have literally just quit and don't go past the first 5 games. That one I thought was an interesting one of how it looked.
Definitely so. Bronco, you got anything to say about the Jags before we go on to the Rams?
Yeah, the Jags are they're kind of an intriguing team where they've kind of been out of it the whole year, but they've been playing hard and been competitive. And my buddy Phil he's always on the Jags and singing their praises, and he splits one of our Circa Millions entries, and I got to check and see if he recommended the Jags this week, because it seems like it might be a sneaky pick if it even on that 3, maybe even looks like it might come off of that. But yeah, even if it's below, I think it could be a good teaser leg.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, this was one of the top 3 picks from the proxy service this week, and this was on the Rams versus Seattle. So, Adam, what does the inside information look like at Prime?
All right, before I jump into this, the Browns did score a touchdown, so it's back to 11, so 21-10 right now. If you're a bookmaker looking at this chart, this is the one you just go, I have no chance to win this game. I hope it doesn't land on 2, 1, 0, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like this number's all over the place. When I was going through this game, we are at 75% of the money is on Seattle. 70% of the sharp money is on Seattle. The first number bet on Seattle is +3, +2.5 significant money, +1 big money. We even got a decent bet or a few bets on the Rams at -1. So now that game's 7. So you've got someone that laid -1 on the Rams that they could now get +7. So again, that's just the way the game goes. But Seattle now sitting at as I said, was it -7, -20? There is significant bets at +3, +2.5, +2, +1. Skip the +0.5, -1, -2. Skip the -2.5. -3 is probably 30% of the money. -3.5 another leak. -4, -4.5. Nothing at -5, -5.5, -6, -6.5, and -7 has significant money on it as well. And then on the flip side, the Rams, as I said, there was a bit of money at -1. The most of their money is at +3, and then there's been tickles sort of all the way up to +6.5, +7. So, this is a chart from hell for bookmakers. It's just like, what the hell happened? So unless you're sitting in the box and you're just knowing as the information comes out and the numbers moving and the way the line history went, which would be a show in itself. This is week 18. This is what charts look like in at least a few games, usually by this time. And we still have 8 + 10, almost 20 hours until kickoff, and who knows what's going to happen before then.
Yeah, anything could happen. And I don't know if you guys saw this on the screen, but I just added the Browns game so that we could see the score. And right now it is the score you said, 21-10. That way we can monitor that situation using Spank odds. But I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, week 18 is very, very tough to bet because it's so much like a preseason game. How about you, Bronco? Do you want to say anything about the Browns game? Or I'm sorry, about the Seattle game?
No, I've got nothing on that one. Fascinating that how that action's all spread across like that, and what's kind of a meaningless game. So that's definitely one I'll be avoiding.
I understand that too. And so, Adam, I'm going to go ahead and highlight your play. You want to go ahead and give your play of the week again?
We're going to stick our necks out and go the Saints +14.5. If you can get the hook, I guess 14 is the number there. So that's what we'll do. If it lands 14, we'll call it a push. But if you can get that extra little tick over it, I'd be taking that just as healthy, a little bit of security. And even if they go down 7 or 10, we know they've done it in the past. So if you happen to get some of that, +20, 22s, 23 or something, if they get down early, ride it all the way.
Sounds really good to me. Well, like I say, we've had a very, very good run. I can't tell you how pleased I am with how the server held up. I got a lot of help in the off season building this server out. And as Bronco said, the server does get a little aggressive. Sometime about noon, it starts firing emails to people. And then sometime about 5:30 or 6 o'clock, it starts sending SMSs. Adam, I think you can attest to that. It's fired and hit you a couple of times.
Yeah, I was getting mine, and then I was also getting the special message at usually about 9:50 Eastern or whatever time it was, like, remember your picks. And it was like, literally it got to the last 2 weeks, and it probably took me under 30 seconds to enter all 5 entries.
Well, believe it or not, I can tell when people have given up because their entries form a pattern. It'll be 5 odd numbers in a row, or it'll be 5 even numbers in a row. And I'm like, I am not buying this. The person must have surrendered. This has been a great contest, though. Great that Circa puts it on, doesn't take a rake. It's just the ideal thing to get involved in. And then you have a sweat for the entire season. And then when we all get back together at Bet Bash again in August, we'll start this process all over again. But Adam, you kind of teased this last week that you were going to have some big news. Do you have any news to share with us?
So I really hope that we'll be taking first bets in Arizona next week, being ready for the first week of the playoffs. There's still a few little I's to dot and T's to cross and things like that. But for all those Arizona followers and fans, I do hope that by next weekend have somewhere new for you to place some bets. Currently, I am sitting in Vegas and ideally head down to Phoenix sort of midweek if everything's going to plan. So, yeah, I think if it does, Scott and I will jump on something during the week and, see if we can get it over the line.
Are you hiring remote traders that live in Henderson, Nevada? I'm just curious.
There's every chance, but I
Every
think you
chance.
might be. I think you might be more valuable on the other side of the counter, just tapping into those bad numbers, and I'll put an auto move on you, and you can just knock them into place that way.
Oh, I thought you meant more valuable to you. I thought maybe I would lose more than I could make you by working on the team. I thought you were going the other direction. You know what? We'll talk about it. We'll see. We'll see what's available. Bronco, hey, it was a real pleasure having you on the show. Do you
Yep,
have
for
any
sure.
questions about Ohio or New Jersey or my future employment at Arizona?
Yeah, well, yeah, I love the industry. I love following it. I used to think I wanted to work in it. Then I understood what, to what of a grind it is to, with low margins and a tough business. And I hear Joe, Brennan on the podcast talk about it. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to work in that industry. Uh, but so, yeah, I do feel like though, Arizona, from the time to like the application to taking bets, seemed like a pretty short window. Where it feels like I've heard you guys feel like you've been talking about Kentucky for years, or probably not that long. So, do I have that right? Or
Yeah. So, I mean, Arizona was a bit of a journey, but the last bit was more on us getting the tech and a few other things in place. And again, as it's Planetech, being the license holder, we had to do a little bit more paperwork, etc., to get that through. On Kentucky, a lot of that was on the regulators, whatnot. However, us as Planetech and Prime, obviously previously, are now both approved, and we're just trying to play out whether we won't make the Super Bowl, so we're not going to try and charge in for that. Maybe March Madness is an achievable goal, or maybe roll out sort of May, getting ready for the football season, and sort of go from there. So, where are you based? Is that where you are?
no? Well, I was going to mention that I'm in Virginia, so that was the
Okay.
other thing I was going to mention is I think Sport Trade is in Arizona and Virginia, and so hopefully you guys
Yep.
keep competing with them, and I think that's Virginia's Joe's neck of the woods, and then he can have an actual product to show people, where he lives too, and not have to talk about these other states. So hopefully
Yeah.
that's on your
So
roadmap somewhere.
Virginia was one that was always kept an eye on. They had, I think it was 12 licenses at the time, and all of them got picked up. And then occasionally, when one drops out, someone picks it up, like Sport Trade did, picked up one of the ones that left. I don't know. There's maybe one or two there available right now. For us, again, it's get Arizona up. Kentucky got dinged a little bit by the work we were putting on that. So then that one will be the next one to roll out. And then, these market accesses are becoming a hell of a lot cheaper. So it's sort of now looking at what's on the table, which one you have to rush into, which one's not a rush into. But New Jersey, Ohio, it's been a battle. We need to just keep digging in, trying to get the product a bit better and a bit more expansive to pick up, more recreational players. Because when you're fighting the assassins, they're just sitting back, picking you off at times on the information. It's really helped, I think, with Sport Trade in New Jersey and all the other books. The Arbors have definitely done us a favor in New Jersey. I hope we see similar in Arizona. And then obviously being able to have people sitting on the border and a bit of back and forth with Circa. Kentucky, again, is one I'm really keen on. With Circa there, it'd be the first state that we're both in. So we'll be able to really see, the difference between our products and how much goes on between us and them, but also the fact of us trying to sort of align the market on the taking bets and then chipping away at the recreational books that are currently there. So, it's all fun and games, and we just keep taking bets. That's the goal.
I'm really anxious for you to get Arizona open. I think that's great. It's great to see more books spreading across the country that aren't looking to throw people out. That's really what we need. That we just have too many books that are so in favor of limiting people until they can't bet. The $3.42 places. I'm just really cheering for you, Adam. Except when I'm betting against you, then of course I'm hoping you don't do quite as well. But other than that, I cannot wait until you get installed out here. And I'm so glad to get to hang out with you and get to know the inside part of it. So then when we do these shows next year, you'll talk about the Arizona customers, you'll talk about the Kentucky customers, the Ohio, the New Jersey, and the Nevada customers. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. So we'll see how that all goes out. But does anybody else have anything they want to end with here? And again, I want to thank everybody for listening to us. This has been a great show. Adam, I'm going to let you take us out.
Yeah, just to add on, the Ravens have scored a touchdown. We've got just under 7 minutes left, so they're back up by 18. So it looks like we'll actually be sweating this game right to the very end.
Yeah, there were some 20s available right at the very, very end before this game started. So yeah, that number's definitely in play. So I'm definitely going to jump over and watch that game also. But Bronco, you want to say goodbye to everybody and we'll get out of here?
Yeah, goodbye, everyone. Thanks, for a great season, both of you, Scott and Adam, and look forward to what's going to be going on in the meantime. So looking forward to hearing that.
Well, I know you like that horse broadcast that Adam did, and I'm still trying to talk him into doing the Triple Crown using the VHP proxy service. So I'm going to work on him again tomorrow night about setting that up, getting that to work. I hope he'll join us for that.
I'll be tuning in. That's for sure.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
All right. All the best, everyone. Cheers.